Guardians of the Galaxy was a Marvel animated series that had the same characters in most Marvel movies and comics. The first season aired in 2015 on Disney XD, and the final season was in 2018, which then ran and ended in 2019. Today's video shall be longer as we shall discuss each and every character that featured in the show. From all Galaxy members like Rocket Raccoon and Gamora to villains like Ebony and Korath the Persuer, I want us to look at all the Marvel characters, then get to see the voice actors behind the voices, who they are and how their life is in 2025. The first character was Rocket. He was the genetically engineered raccoon who was one of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was mostly single-minded in terms of thinking and was a very selfish fella who mostly thought about himself in everything he did. He was one of the few people that loved danger and adventure, and he mostly loved when he and his team went to missions in the outer space. And even though he was the smallest character, he was one of the toughest and bravest warriors when it came to battle. Some of his abilities included flight using his jetpack, he was super agile, he was enhanced in combat and could also use any weapons easily without hassle. His rough voice came from Trevor Duvall, who is a Canadian voice actor. He also voiced Rocket in Avengers Assemble, which came a while before this series aired. Another Guardian member was Gamora. She was the adopted daughter of Thanos, and was known to be a very stoic and distant person, kind of like Raven from the Teen Titans. She was a merciless warrior when it came to war, and was basically due to her upbringing with Thanos. And even before joining the Guardians, she was a villain working under her father who was dominating other worlds in his rule. She was from the species called Zeobarii, and her powers included superhuman strength, agility, durability, superhuman stamina. She had an enhanced neurological system and a regenerative healing body that healed faster after battle. She was also a well-trained master assassin. She was a master combatant and was very good in handling weapons like swords and arsenals. She was voiced by Vanessa Marshall, an American voice actress who we talked about in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, where she voiced Irwin. And she also voiced Mary Jane Watson in The Spectacular Spider-Man of 2008. Star-Lord was the leader of the Guardians, and was a human whose real name was Peter Jason Quill. He was a self-proclaimed legendary outlaw who assembled the team to protect the galaxy from threats as well as to get paid for missions and services. He was a sarcastic man who loved adventure just like Rocket, and he also loved music and generally having a good time. And even though he was just a human being, he had special abilities like super durability and reflexes. He was a skilled marksman. He fought with elemental weapons and was also experienced in hand-to-hand combat. Voiced by Will Friedle, who is an American actor and screenwriter. He was the original voice of Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond of 1999, and also Ron Stoppable in Kim Possible of 2002. Groot was the fourth member of the Guardians. He was from a race of walking flora that resembled a sentient tree. He could speak but could only mention his name in every sentence, and this made it very difficult for other people to understand him. He was a good and loyal friend to all the other members, and was also known to be a sweet and naive character. He had special powers like chlorokinesis, which means that he was able to manipulate other plants. He had immense super strength and durability that enabled him to withstand heavy blows and impacts, and also had a powerful regenerative healing factor that even allowed him to regrow from a small splinter. This amazing creature was voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, who is an American voice actor that has been the voice of Goro in Mortal Kombat since 1995. We also discussed him in our previous episode where he voiced Captain Gantu in Lilo and Stitch. Howard the Duck briefly appeared in one episode where he was being chased by the Guardians for some reason. He was an anthropomorphic talking duck who loved to argue and cause unwanted drama, and was also known for his anger issues, which he reacted to anyone he mingled with. His voice was from Seth Green, who is an American actor and voice actor. His most iconic role is the voice of Chris Griffin in Family Guy, and he was also the voice of Leonardo in TMNT from 2014 to 2017. Yondu Adanta was the Centurion leader of an exiled faction of Ravagers and the adoptive father of Star-Lord. He was a rough and greedy leader who loved everything that was unique and rare in the galaxy. He also worked for money alongside his crew, and he was generally a villain in the franchise. Even so, he also possessed a deeply fatherly and protective nature towards the young Star-Lord, who he loved even though he never admitted it. He always carried around his Yaka arrow, which he controlled through whistling, and it wiped out anyone along its way. He was an expert thief and also a pilot who was greatly respected and feared all around the universe. He was voiced by the amazing James Arnold Taylor, who is an American voice actor and producer. He was the unforgettable voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars: The Clone Wars and also the voice of Johnny in Johnny Test of 2005. Mantis was just a minor antagonist who appeared in the show. She was a member of a cult known as the Universal Believer and was one of the leaders of the group. She had powers like empathy, empathic manipulation, and enhanced durability. We all remember her as one of the Guardians in the franchise, but in this portrayal she was a minor villain that the team faced. Voiced by Jennifer Hale, who is both a legend in video games and animation characters. Recently she has voiced Jean Grey in X-Men '97, which was released a few months ago. Thanos was the main villain in this Guardians of the Galaxy portrayal. He was the adoptive father of Gamora and Nebula, who both betrayed him during the war. He was typically the same Titan we saw in the Avengers timeline, and he had powerful abilities like superhuman strength, superhuman reflexes, superhuman intelligence, superhuman speed. He was almost invulnerable, he does not age, he was perfect in hand-to-hand combat and was also a great leader of an unstoppable army that marched all over the galaxy. He was a Titan voiced by Isaac Charles Singleton Jr. He is an American actor who played the role of Booth in Deadpool and also voiced Darkwing in Transformers of 2024. Ronan the Accuser was a villain who fought the team a couple of times in the series before being defeated in the end. He was a ruthless and a fanatical tyrant who was driven by an obsession with the purity of the Kree Empire and a deep hatred for the Xandarian species. He always viewed himself as an agent of justice who delivered punishment to anyone who does not follow the commands of the Kree. He had the Kree physiology, which granted him superhuman strength, durability, agility, and a regenerative healing factor. He was also empowered by his Accuser armor and the Cosmic Rod, which fired energy blasts and gave him the power to glide through the air. He was voiced by Jonathan Adams, who is an American actor who played the role of Daniel Goodman in Bones and has voiced various Marvel characters like Galactus, Dormammu, and Kong the Conqueror in the Marvel Animated Universe. Hulk was a minor character in the series and a member of the Avengers. He appeared both as Bruce and the Hulk. As Bruce, he was intelligent and really friendly to everyone. He was calm and level-headed, and always used his head to solve problems. But as the Hulk, he turned into a short-tempered beast who was very aggressive even to his friends. This version of the Hulk was voiced by Fred Tatasciore, who is an American voice actor that voices characters from both DC Comics and Marvel Animated Studios. Some examples of characters he voiced in DC were Bane and Solomon Grundy in different productions. Phyla was one of Star Children and a former fish that was genetically engineered by the High Evolutionary. She was a friend of Drax, who along with the Guardians of the Galaxy saved all the captured kids from High Evolutionary. She had powers like enhanced intelligence, she could create cosmic energy around her fists, she could crawl on walls, and also used a sword that was kind of magical during fights. Voiced by Ming-Na Wen, an American actress who we discussed where she voiced Mulan in the Mulan film. Loki was the adoptive brother of Thor and the adopted son of Odin. In this particular show, Loki was still a villain who faced the Guardians more than once. Since the team could not stop him alone, they were helped by Thor and the Avengers to put him down. There is nothing much to say about him other than he was the same Loki we saw in the Avengers films. This version was voiced by Troy Baker, who is an American voice actor and musician. He is also a video game voice actor, and his best portrayal was in Tales of Vesperia, where he voiced Yuri Lowell. Angela was an Asgardian warrior and the sister of Thor. She was a fierce and determined warrior who could fight without the help of his brother or father. She was more prone to anger than her brother, and her temper gave her a rebellious personality which made her become distant with her brother. She left heaven to find her place in the universe, and she crossed paths with the Guardians while they fought the same villains. She had the Asgardian physiology that gave her powers like superhuman strength, durability, speed, agility, enhanced senses, and even lifespan longevity. She could also fly, was good in hand-to-hand combat, and possessed divine weapons of magic which were like Thor's hammer. She was voiced by Nika Futterman, who is an American singer, voice actress, and a professional poker player. She was the voice of Asajj Ventress in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Titus was once a member of the Nova Corps before he became a villain. He was a ruthless and cunning person who betrayed the Nova Corps to join the Chitauri, and was a guy who was driven by greed and the desire for power. He only cared about his needs and destroyed anyone who came close to shutting down his dreams. He's faced different heroes like Spider-Man, Thor, Nova, and even the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was one of the most powerful villains in the show. His voice was from Jean-Benoit Blanc, who is a French actor and an animation developer. If you watched Breaking Bad, he was Gus Fring's Mexican doctor, and he also appeared in Better Call Saul with the same role.
I am a Marvel, and I am a comic book fan, and I am a super fan of Guardians of the Galaxy.